Welcome to the RJI Futures Lab, where we help you make your organization more innovative. I'm Ruben Stern. This week, tools from Twitter to help news organizations, and a new social network for sharing high-quality content. Twitter is actively building products designed to help news organizations better use the platform. Futures Lab reporter Gabriel Jefferson takes a look at some of the tools now available.
Three of the most useful tools for the Twitter platform are software development kits, Topsy, and Snappy TV. News organizations can use these products to take full advantage of Twitter and its audience. SDKs, or software development kits, are one way Twitter is making it easier for developers and news organizations to integrate Twitter content into their websites and apps.
Using our SDK, if you open up a news app, you are scrolling through a story, you'd see a tweet right in line, already rendered, already visible, that complements the story. So in the old days, you'd have maybe a tweet, but it takes a long time to render, or it's just a link to the tweet. Using the SDK tools, it's just really easy to have a user scroll through a story, like a Bleacher Report sports story, and just to see the commentator's tweet, all the different tweets that the journalist intends the user to see.
Organizations can utilize an SDK by getting a recently launched tool called Fabric. It also allows them to maximize their app's ad revenue and access a crash reporting solution for apps.
Fabric is a kit for developers that has three different parts to it. One of it is Crashalytics, which is for developers when they're building an app, they want to see how it's performing and they need lots of data on how it's performing and if it's crashing. The second is MoPub, which is the ability to actually monetize your content across the MoPub ad network. But the third, and this is what we focus on with publishers, is really the content and syndication piece. So giving developers, mobile developers, tools to make it much easier to integrate Twitter content into their apps to make their content more shareable.
Twitter is also doing some interesting things with data visualization and explaining what's going on across the platform. Tools called Topsy and Reverb allow organizations to analyze hashtags and tweets.
So we have a really talented data scientist here, Simon Rogers, who spends a bit of time building tools and analyzing the volume of conversation happening around events. And so Jay Sweet's Charlie is a good example where he did a variety of data polls and he built some visualizations to show the spread of the hashtag and to show the height of the conversation as it took place globally. And we find that as a really compelling way to visualize to people how the conversation unfolded on Twitter.
According to Anderson, Twitter is not just about text in the 140 characters. Organizations are using photos, GIFs, and interactive polls. Snappy TV is a tool that brings video into the equation as well and makes it easy to edit and share.
It's live, the ability to edit live video and to share it quickly on Twitter. So a good example of how Sky News has used this is during the hostage situation in Paris. Snappy was taking their clips that were happening on broadcast and they're immediately posting it to Twitter. So we're helping publishers and journalists with tools like Snappy to make it really easy to report in real time and distribute great content on Twitter.
For the Futures Lab, this is Gabriel Jefferson.
Along with this video, you'll find a link to the official Twitter blog where they post regular updates about things happening on the platform. What if instead of quizzes and listicles, the only links that got shared online were intelligent and thoughtful? An entrepreneur in residence at The Atlantic hopes his latest creation will become just such a place. It's a social platform called This. The Futures Lab's Katie Mersman explains how it works and how it might benefit publishers.
This is based on the idea that when users are limited in what they can share, they'll choose the highest quality media.
The idea of the site is basically that we're in this moment in which so the big social platforms like Twitter and Facebook have gone to scale, and we have a sense that the value of getting recommendations from people who we trust is really high. By limiting people to sharing one thing a day, it forces the sharer to think very carefully about what is worthy of that high bar, and it gives them the opportunity as a sharer, a kind of new tool they don't have yet to be able to say, this is something that's really special. I share lots of things on lots of other platforms, but this is something that's really special.
The site provides a browser plugin that enables users to be anywhere on the internet and simply click a button to post that page to their feeds, but again, just once per day.
I became obsessed with the idea of, is there a way to take advantage of what we like about those social platforms, which is our ability to get recommendations from people we trust, but create a mechanism that drives that to encouraging people to share the best stuff, and to be able to endorse things based on the value of the media.
By being more selective, Goalless believes this will drive users and media organizations to focus more on quality.
That's trying to give users a platform in which they're able to say, okay, this is the stuff I really love, and I'm going to collect stuff the way that I would collect things and put them on my home bookshelf and really display kind of my most interesting, quirky, fun, intellectual self. And that behavior will encourage media companies to try to get onto that bookshelf, right? It'll give media companies something to chase there's a higher bar and a more interesting bar to try to cross. I think a smart editor needs to be thinking about, okay, now I know how to distribute this stuff, which is the stuff that people like to share on Facebook, but in fact, if I have responsibilities to both civic and kind of intellectual responsibilities to try to push into the world a kind of broader swath of information than just this. If you're in a mass media business and you need to be reaching people, then certainly you need to be thinking about not just the quality of the work you're doing, but the way it's distributed. And that's a question around the forms of the media and all of the work you do to kind of push stuff out into the world.
This.cm is still in an invitation-only beta, with about 6,500 users as of February 10th. Last week, the site enabled users to each invite 5 more people into the network. For the Futures Lab, this is Katie Mersman.
Users can also receive a daily curated list of editors' picks chosen from across the site. And that's it for this report from the RJI Futures Lab. I'm Ruben Stern. We'll see you in the future.